Hey folks, this is Johnny. Welcome to another home studio trainer show, and today we're going to take a look at Control Link. This is when you're using third-party hardware, and what you're doing is you're looking to actually hook up some of the controls from it if it doesn't have a template in Studio One or you want to customize the settings. It should be actually pretty easy. Yeah, I'm sitting at an angle here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this keyboard right here that you see in the video there. I'm going to use a close-up option. I got my camera like right above. So I'm going to show you how to set up a keyboard like this in Studio One using Control Link. All right, if you guys could, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you would like to go to Rumble, I always forget the name. What's up with that? If you go to Rumble, you hit the follow button, and if you want to help support the channel, click on the Patreon link in the description, and you can actually help out there. There are videos over on Patreon that you won't find on YouTube. A lot of it because of copyright issues. All right, so you guys can see I have the keyboard here, and I have Studio One open, and my example is going to be a preset guitar setting that I created for presents. Just like that. So now, with this particular guitar sound, I would love a pitch bend and a modulation option. And as you can see here on this keyboard, there is no pitch bend or mod wheel on here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use the joystick controller, and you can see it's not controlling anything at all. There's no template for this keyboard in Studio One to automatically hook this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Control Link. Now there's two options. There is an in focus, and then I don't think it's global. I think it's just called out of focus option, to where you can set up a particular instrument to actually be controlled by the setup controls that you use with Control Link. Let's see if I can explain this right. And be able to control the instrument even when the plugin is not in focus. Now this means in focus, and obviously this is out of focus. So there's two modes to set up. There is in focus and not in focus. So let's go ahead and set this up. So the first thing that we want to do in the instrument is we want to make sure that we can actually see the controls moving. So I'm going to go here. You see this little cogwheel right here. I'm going to click on that, and it opens up the Control Link option. And if I move, there we go. You can actually see. Let me actually zoom in. Excuse me. Let me see if I can zoom in here. So if I move the control on the keyboard, you can actually see there's control number 1 and control number 2. I want to set this one up for the pitch bend, and I want to set this one up for the modulation wheel. Pretty simple. All right. So in order to do that, I have to first choose the controller from the window here. Excuse me, that I want to set up to control. So I'm going to hit the little caret right here. Let me actually zoom in again. I'm going to hit a little caret, and I'm going to choose the Akai MPK Mini. Perfect. So now you can see that there is I call this gold mode, but this is a focus device. This is in focus, and this is out of focus. So what this means is when the window for the plugin is opened, the controls will only control this plugin. If it's out of focus, then whatever I set up will be controlled whether this window is open or not. So let's start it with it in focus, just like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the mod wheel. You can see here, it's hooking up to number 1. And I am going to click on the pitch bend. And you see now pitch bend shows up in this window. I'm going to click the little caret right here. Ink. And now it is controlled. Down here. Beautiful. Now I'm going to do the same with control number 2 and the mod wheel. So here's the mod wheel. You see the mod wheel here. You see control number 2. I'm going to click the little caret there. So now the mod wheel works. Perfect. So I have, let me go and focus down here now. So I have the mod wheel and the pitch bend. Perfect. All right, so now if I play the sounds from the keyboard, watch how it controls. And the mod part actually just adds a little bit of vibrato. Just a slight amount, but that's how I have it set up. All right, so now it works. But since I'm using the in focus option, look what happens when I close a window. Oh, it's actually still working. Do I actually have it set up in the out of focus mode? Oh, I still have it set up. This is from when I was practicing earlier. So I'm actually going to disconnect that and disconnect that. All right, let's go back to in focus. So now nothing works because the instrument is out of focus. And here it is in focus. And out of focus. So now I actually kind of gave away the other part of it already. So if I decide to go in out of focus mode and I set them up, let's go the first control. That's going to be control number 1, and I want that to the pitch bend, and I'm going to connect it. And I'm going to go to control number 2. And I want to connect that to the mod. So now the cool part is, if I close the window, so now let's do a test here. Let's bring in another instance of impact. And let's go ahead and use a different sound. Let's use the piano. Use my ballad piano. And I want to see what happens since I'm in this. Okay. It is not controlling at all. Even, let's see if I go in focus. There we go. So you see what the difference is here. And this is kind of a surprise to me here. So if I go back to this instrument, whether I'm in focus or out of focus, since I have it set up for both, I can have a different window open and still control the guitar. But since this is in focus, let me see if I go out of focus. There we go. So that actually still works. But if I'm in focus now on the second instrument, it controls if I go out of focus with the second instrument. Nothing, which gives me the ability to set this up separately if I want to. So it really gives you a lot of control over the same set of controls in your keyboard, or I can even do this with the Atom and the knobs on the Atom. And it gives you the ability to have the controls set up for different settings for each instrument you have set up. If you're going to do that, make sure that you're in focus for the controller that you want controlling the instrument. If I close this and I go to this one, it's not going to control anything. I can choose the MPK MIDI in focus mode. Beautiful. So you can see that the two different modes give you a lot of options if you're controlling multiple instruments on multiple tracks. It is really a nice setup, and especially if you have a controller like mine where I don't have the pitch bend wheel. I've got my bigger keyboard, but it doesn't fit under my console. So I've been using this, and I had to learn how to set this up. So that I could use the little controller and this, since I don't have a mod wheel or a pitch bend wheel on this. All right, so I do hope that that was helpful. I really appreciate you guys actually coming in and looking at these videos. Got a great response over my impact video that I did yesterday. So if you have any suggestions for videos, please leave them in the comments, and I will see you all in the next video.